The vast blue ocean at night can feel like a whole different world, full of secrets and a bit of mystery. Just think that you are on a huge cruise ship, one of those floating giants that is bigger than a few football fields put together and weighs as much as a small town. During the day, it's all lit up like a Vegas hotel. But as the sun goes down and you're way out in the deep sea, miles from any land, something changes. The outside lights start to dim or turn off completely. That bright, glowing ship turns into a dark shadow moving through the dark blue water. It is not an accident or some spooky trick. It is done on purpose for good reasons tied to safety, science, rules, and even saving the planet. In this video, we'll break it all down in simple terms, like we're chatting over coffee. But we'll cover every technical detail, so you really get why this happens. By the end, you'll see how this smart move keeps everyone safe and makes the trip better. Let's dive in. First off, the main reason cruise ships turn off their outside lights at night is all about helping the crew see better to steer the ship safely. Think about how your eyes work. During the day, you see colors and details clearly because of special cells in your eyes called cones. But at night, different cells called rods kick in. They're better for seeing in low light, but they need time to adjust. This adjustment is called dark adaptation, and it can take anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes. Your pupils get bigger, and a chemical called rhodopsin builds up in the rods to make them super sensitive to even the faintest light. Now, on the ship S bridge, that S the control room up top where the captains and officers watch everything, any bright lights from the decks or inside can mess this up. Those lights bounce off the windows, creating glare that makes it hard to see outside. It's like trying to drive your car at night with the dome light on. You can't spot stuff far away. The International Maritime Organization, or IMO, which sets global rules for ships, stresses that keeping the bridge dark lets the crew use their natural night vision to spot other boats, floating markers, or even dangers like icebergs if they're in cold waters. For example, the crew might use special binoculars that boost night vision or cameras that see heat, but nothing beats the human eye for quick checks. Too much light scatters tiny bits of energy called photons, which lowers the contrast and hides important shapes on the horizon. Studies from the US Coast Guard show that onboard glare can cut how far you can see by up to half. That's why bridges often use red lights. Inside, red doesn't wreck your night vision as much as white or blue does, so the crew can still read maps or screens without losing their edge. Out in the deep ocean, where there's no street lights or buildings to guide you, this clear view is a must to avoid crashes that could hurt thousands of people on board. But it is not just about seeing. There are strict laws that make sure ships do light up too much. These come from something called the Convention on the International Regulations for Preventing Collisions at Sea, or COLREGs for short. It was set up back in 1972, and every country follows it. Under Rule 20, ships have to show certain lights from sunset to sunrise so other boats know what they were dealing with. For a big cruise ship, longer than about 164 feet, that's 50 meters. The required lights include a white light up front on the mast, visible for 6 nautical miles, about 7 regular miles, and shining in a 225-degree arc ahead. Side lights, red on the left port side and green on the right starboard, each seen from 3 miles away in a 112.5-degree arc. A white light at the backstern, visible 3 miles out in a 135-degree arc. These lights have exact brightness levels detailed in Annex I of the rules. So they're bright enough to be seen, but not overwhelming. The key part is Rule 20B. You can't have any extra lights that might confuse people or hide these important ones. On a cruise ship, that means turning off the fancy deck lights, pool glows, or walkway spots because they could make it hard for another ship to figure out your direction or size. Big companies like Carnival or Royal Caribbean follow this to the letter. If they don't, they could get fined, lose insurance, or face checks from the IMO. In bad weather like fog or rain, Rule 35 adds horn blasts or whistles. But the lights still need to be clear. Out in the deep ocean, where radio signals or electronic trackers like eyes, that's automatic identification system, might glitch from being so far out. These visual signals really save the day. By dimming the fun lights, the ship makes sure the must-have navigation lights stand out, helping everyone stay safe. This system goes way back to old sailing days, when ships used simple lanterns. But now it's high-tech with LEDs that last longer and use less power. Another big safety angle is protecting against bad guys, like pirates. Yeah, pirates are still a thing in some parts of the world, especially in deep waters. Far from help, places like the waters between the Philippines and Indonesia, or back in the day of Somalia, have seen attacks where fast boats sneak up at night to board ships for money or stuff. The International Maritime Bureau's latest reports from 2025 say attacks on passenger ships are rare, less than 1% of all pirate stuff, but with so many people on a cruise, it's a huge risk if it happens. To fight this, ships go into dark ship mode. Turn off all lights, except the basic navigation ones, pull curtains in rooms, and keep people off the decks. A real example was in 2025 when the Cunard ship Queen Anne was going through risky areas. The crew told everyone to black out their cabins to make the ship harder to see from far away. The navigation lights stay on because of those COLREG rules, but they're not super bright, just like a couple of regular bulbs. This makes the ship's outline blend into the dark sea, giving the crew time to zigzag away or call for help from Navy groups. It's not just guesswork. The IMO has guidelines called Best Management Practices for Piracy that say to cut lights in danger zones. Ships also use radar that doesn't bounce back easily and run quieter engine. Pirates look for easy targets they can see, so going dark is like hiding in plain sight. For folks on the ship, it might feel a little scary, but it's part of a whole plan with water sprays, safe hideouts, and loud sound weapons to scare off attackers. In the middle of nowhere, ocean, this darkness is your best defense. Now, let's talk about the environment. Turning off lights helps protect the sea and its creatures. Man-made light from ships adds to what's called light pollution from ships, which disrupts aquatic life and plants. Many ocean critters are drawn to light. It's called being phototactic. Things like tiny plankton, squid, and fish swim toward bright spots, and that can pull in bigger predators like sharks or birds. A lit-up ship acts like a magnet, raising the chance of animals bumping into it or getting hurt. Groups like the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, point out how lights confuse baby sea turtles. They were supposed to follow moonlight to the sea, but ship lights can send them the wrong way, leading to death. Cruise companies, watched closely by the Cruise Lines International Association (COLREG), promise to cut down on pollution. Dimming lights saves energy, but more importantly, it keeps ecosystems healthy. In special spots like Australia's Great Barrier Reef or around Antarctica, laws require low light running to save birds that might fly into bright decks or whales that use stars to find their way. A study from 2024 in the Marine Pollution Bulletin showed ship lights can change how whales migrate, making them more likely to get hit by boats. Modern ships use smart LEDs that dim based on where they are, thanks to GPS. This follows rules from the Marine Environment Protection Committee and cuts the ship's pollution. Every bit of electricity saved means less fuel burned. Saving money and fuel is another practical reason. These ships are energy hogs, burning up to 250 tons of diesel a day. Outside lights aren't the biggest user, but they add up maybe 100 to 200 kilowatts a night for deck. LEDs. Turning them off lightens the load on generators, which can adjust speed to burn less fuel. A 2023 report from CLIA says tricks like this cut fuel use by 2 to 5%, saving millions of bucks a year for companies like Norwegian Cruise Line. When you're crossing deep ocean and most passengers are winding down anyway, it's a no-brainer without hurting the fun. But we can't skip how this affects people mentally. Darkness on a ship can stir up feelings. Your brain has a part called the amygdala that handles fear, and when it's dark, it gets jumpy because you can't see what's out there. Psychologists talk about intolerance of uncertainty, where not having enough info from your eyes makes worry kick in. Out in deep water with no land in sight, that black ocean can make you feel small and exposed, tapping into old survival instincts from when our ancestors hid from night predators. A 2022 study in the Journal of Travel. Research found that about 15 to 20% of cruise folks feel a bit anxious in the dark, blaming it on feeling out of control. But flipside, darkness can bring wonder. It lights up the default mode network in your brain, which is for deep thinking and feeling amazed. The blue mind idea from scientist Wallace J. Nichols says, being near water calms you with negative ions and wave sounds, and dark skies make it better by showing real stars like the whole Milky Way in super clear Bortle class. One darkness. Some cruises, like those from Hurtigruten, even planned for stargazing. Plus, less light helps you sleep because it boosts melatonin, the sleep hormone. Lines like Virgin Voyages use soft room lights to help, but the ship's overall darkness sinks your body clock. In emergencies, dark-adapted eyes mean faster escapes, as per the IMO's Safety of Life at Sea Solar's rules. Mentally, it builds toughness, showing you that you don't need constant control to feel okay. It encourages being in the moment. This habit started way back with old ships hiding from enemies using minimal lights. Today, it is mixed with modern tech like radar that sees 24 miles out and eyes that shares your position automatically. Darkness works with these tools, but alongside them, wrapping it up, cruise ships go dark in deep ocean for a bunch of connected reasons. Better cruise sight, following laws, dodging pirates, saving animals, cutting costs, and even helping your mind chill or think deep. It's not old school, it's smart engineering for safe, green trips. Next cruise, don't fear the dark. It's part of the adventure, revealing the ocean's real magic. Thanks for watching.